Alright guys, so let's talk about this promo between CM Punk and the Usos on Raw this past Monday. The Usos came out seeking an apology from Punk for the line he made last week before in reference to Sika, or in this case, Roman's father and Jimmy and Jay's uncle. Now before I get into the rest of the segment, we gotta give a round of applause to Jimmy Uso. I mean, he did an amazing job delivering this promo. Punk raises the question of why Roman Reigns keeps sending his cousins to handle his issues, a little jab there to Roman being part-time. But Jimmy and Jay make it very clear that this moment isn't about Roman. It's about them asking someone they respect for an apology on behalf of their uncle. One of my favorite lines in this promo was when Jimmy said something along the lines of, "You call yourself the voice of the voiceless, and you can speak trash about Roman all you want, but what you did last week was disrespectful to our late uncle, who doesn't have a voice." And Punk starts to talk about how his history with their family goes back further than a lot of people realize. He explained that he used to drive out to Pennsylvania and train and work, and Alpha would offer him gas money, a hot meal, and even a place to stay. Punk made it clear that he has nothing but respect for their family, and in return, they have always shown him respect. All except for Roman Reigns. From there, Punk says that if Sika can still see and hear what's going on, then he would also see the kind of person that Roman has been, calling him manipulative, conniving, gaslighting, backstabbing, plastic, politician, and someone who has overall mistreated the people around him. After that, Jay basically says he just don't get it, man. Punk does not understand. Punk is making it about Roman when they came out there simply asking for an apology. Punk continues to double down and even claim hypocrisy by referencing the things Roman once said about Dusty Rhodes, asking, "Why should I apologize if Roman never had to issue an apology about the things that he said about Dusty Rhodes?" And then finally, Punk says he's sorry, but not for the reason the Usos think. Instead, Punk says he's sorry that Roman treats them and the rest of the bloodline like garbage for years and never once apologized for the way he treated the family that he supposedly loves. And he states if Roman really cared, he would be here himself. And at that point, the tension starts to boil over and Jimmy drops Punk in the ring, and that's basically where the segment would end. Now, theoretically, do I think Punk probably should have apologized to Jimmy and Jay in that moment? Yeah, because from their perspective, they were asking as friends who respect one another, not because he insulted Roman's father, but because he insulted their uncle, if you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, there is no way that you guys actually expected Punk to really apologize. We are in peak Mania season, in the middle of a storyline involving someone who the Usos have deep connections and trauma with in Roman Reigns. And Punk nowadays is a lot different, okay? I can understand that. But this is also the same guy who once poured Paul Bearer's ashes on The Undertaker. So not apologizing is definitely in character. And I can admit that Punk did miss the point that Jimmy and Jay were making. He kept redirecting the conversation and never actually addressed what they were asking for. In a way, you could even say he kind of gaslit them a little bit. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? I wonder who that might be. You know, it's escaping me. I just can't think of who that may be. And to be fair, Punk did make some solid points. Granted, it isn't anything new. They're points we've heard before about Roman Reigns and the Bloodline dynamic, but they're still valid. And I would like to propose this question. If the Bloodline story started around 2020 or 2021, it's kind of interesting that in 2026, why can we still have the same conversations about Roman Reigns' character? Because let's be honest, Roman was an elite tier manipulator in that storyline, and Punk definitely wasn't lying when he brought that up. Also, if I remember correctly, Roman has never really given a proper apology to the Usos, especially Jay, who arguably deserves it the most. Maybe it's because I recently watched a lot of the Bloodline story, but right now I'm honestly curious about where they're going with Roman, the Usos, and the Bloodline as a whole. At times it almost feels like the story is repeating itself and just going in circles. And with the way that things are currently going, it kind of makes you wonder if this will eventually lead to another Bloodline reunion. In my opinion, a reunion would defeat the purpose and erase the character development that the Usos were supposed to have or seem to be going for up until this point. But with WrestleMania getting closer and closer, I guess we'll just have to wait and see where it goes. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more wrestling content, and I'll see you guys next time.